The air crackled with tension, a tangible force that pressed down on the Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Senate. Senator Xylo of the Arcturian delegation, a being of shimmering emerald scales and eyes that pulsed with an unsettling purple light, coughed into his shimmering silk scarf. "The humans have requested to address the Senate," he announced, his voice a rasping whisper that echoed through the vast chamber. Murmurs rippled through the assembly. Humans, the fledgling species barely a century out of their planetary diapers. What could they possibly want? A wave of murmurs arose again as the human delegate, a young woman named Anya, strode confidently into the chamber. Her attire, a simple, worn leather tunic and pants, was starkly unassuming compared to the ostentatious robes and shimmering armor of the other senators. She stood tall, her gaze unwavering, as she addressed the assembled dignitaries. "We, the human race," she began, her voice clear and resonant, "have come before you today to offer a gift that will ensure the safety and prosperity of our collective civilization." A snicker erupted from the back of the chamber. The human ambassador of the Vorian Empire, a hulking warrior with a face like a gnarled tree, chuckled. "A gift, you say? Perhaps a new kind of hand-woven blanket for the Galactic Senate." Anya ignored him. "We understand that you, the elders of the galaxy, have spent millennia battling the Xylossian threat. We know the Xylossian ships, their shields impervious to conventional weaponry. We know the devastation they have wreaked." She paused, letting the weight of her words settle. Then, from beneath her tunic, she produced a small, unassuming object. It was a sphere, no larger than her fist, crafted from rough, dark metal. It pulsed with a faint, steady hum, barely audible above the murmurs of the assembly. "This," Anya announced, holding it aloft, "is a weapon. A weapon that will defeat the Xylossians. A weapon that harnesses the very essence of our sun, our home, our humanity." Gasps arose from the crowd. The Senate was aghast. "A weapon?" a senator from the Andromedan Federation shrieked. "You dare bring such a primitive tool before this esteemed body?" The Vorian ambassador laughed again, a booming, echoing sound that shook the very foundations of the chamber. "Primitive?" he scoffed. "A pathetic trinket like that could never stand against the Xylossian onslaught. It is a feeble attempt to distract from your own incompetence." Anya, however, remained unflinching. She raised her hand, palm open, towards the sphere. The humming intensified, the sphere pulsed with an increasing intensity, and then, with a blinding flash of light, it vanished. The silence that descended on the chamber was deafening. It seemed to stretch on forever, until finally Senator Xylo, his emerald scales pale with fear, spoke, his voice a mere whisper. Where has it gone?" Anya, still calm and composed, replied, "It has gone where it needs to be, to the Xylossian fleet." And then, from beyond the walls of the assembly chamber, from the very heart of the galaxy, came a deafening roar. The sound was unlike anything the senators had ever heard, a primal, ancient force that shook their very souls. The tremors of the earth echoed through the chamber, the lights flickered, and the walls trembled. Anya smiled, a small, knowing smile. "We call it the Sun's Fury." The Xylossian fleet, poised for a final, devastating assault on the galactic core, was vaporized. Their ships, their shields, their very beings, were consumed by the power of the sun, a power the humans had harnessed, a power they had wielded with terrifying precision. The Galactic Senate trembled, not from fear, but from awe. The humans, the seemingly primitive race, had shown them their true power. They were not merely a fledgling species. They were a force to be reckoned with, a force that could tip the scales of power in the galaxy, a force that would forever alter the course of their history. And it all began with a small, unassuming sphere, a primitive weapon that housed the fury of a star. The hushed whispers in the Galactic Senate chamber were punctuated by the rhythmic hammering of Ambassador Kai's heart. His gaze darted between the holographic display of the Earth-forged weapon and the frozen faces of the assembled dignitaries. This primitive weapon, as the humans laughably called it, was anything but. Its potential for destruction dwarfed even the most powerful energy cannons in the known galaxy. Kai, a seasoned diplomat from the peaceful, technologically advanced race of the Xyron, had been tasked with ensuring galactic peace. He had brokered countless treaties, quelled countless conflicts, all in the pursuit of his people's core belief: nonviolence. Now, the human, a species known for their turbulent history and questionable advancements, were threatening to disrupt this delicate balance. "This weapon," he said, his voice firm despite the tremor in his hands, "represents a grave threat to our collective security. We cannot allow such power to remain unchecked." The human ambassador, a woman named Dr. Maya Singh, stood tall, her calm demeanor in stark contrast to the palpable tension in the room. Her gaze swept across the assembled dignitaries, her lips curving into a slight smile. "We understand your concerns, Ambassador Kai. However, we assure you, this weapon will not be used for aggression. It is a tool for defense, a deterrent against those who would seek to exploit our planet's resources and enslave our people." Kai knew that Dr. Singh's words were carefully chosen, her calm demeanor a mask for the power she wielded. He knew the history of the humans, their capacity for both great cruelty and remarkable ingenuity. He had spent years studying their volatile culture, the intricate interplay of their history, their politics, their very essence, and he knew that beneath Dr. Singh's facade, the human instinct for survival burned fiercely. A tremor ran through the room as a senator from the Zargonian Empire, a race known for their ruthlessness and expansionist ambitions, rose from his seat. His voice boomed, echoing through the chamber. "This weapon is a threat to galactic order. It must be destroyed." "I concur," chimed in another senator, this one from the Cygnus hegemony, a powerful consortium known for its technological advancements. "The humans must be brought to heel. Their blatant disregard for galactic law is unacceptable." Kai knew the game had just changed. The humans, with their primitive weapon, had inadvertently become the focal point of an intergalactic power struggle. The threat of war loomed large, and the Xyron, with their commitment to peace, were caught in the crossfire. As the tension escalated, a new voice emerged from the back of the chamber, a voice both familiar and unexpected. It was Ambassador Eric, a seasoned diplomat from the Tau Ceti Federation, a race known for their wisdom and diplomacy. His voice, usually calm and measured, held an urgency that resonated through the chamber. "We must find a diplomatic solution," he declared, his gaze locked on Dr. Singh. "This weapon, while powerful, is not the sole answer. We must understand the humans, their motivations, their fears. We must engage in dialogue, not confrontation." Kai felt a surge of hope. Perhaps, just perhaps, there was still a chance for peace. But even as he clung to that hope, a gnawing doubt emerged. He knew that the humans, with their unpredictable nature, were capable of anything. And the question that lingered in the air was, could they be trusted with such power? Senator Xylo of the Zinth, his antennae twitching nervously, watched the human ambassador, a young woman named Anya, address the Galactic Senate. Her voice, usually calm and measured, was edged with steel. "The human race has always been resourceful," she declared, holding aloft a crude, metal sphere. "Our history is one of survival, of making the most of what we have. This weapon is a testament to that spirit." The senators murmured amongst themselves. The sphere was a far cry from the elegant, plasma-based weapons that adorned the arsenals of advanced civilizations. It was clunky, archaic, and utterly baffling. Xylo, a veteran of the Senate, felt a knot of unease tightening in his chest. He had been present during the humans' initial integration into the Galactic Council. They had been considered primitive, lacking in technology and sophistication. However, over the years, they had proven themselves to be surprisingly adept at bridging the technological gap. Now, their primitive weapon was a stark reminder of their uncanny ability to disrupt the established order. Anya continued, her voice gaining confidence. "This weapon, though simple in design, is capable of unleashing energy that rivals, if not surpasses, the most powerful plasma cannons in this chamber." A tremor ran through the Senate floor as Anya activated the weapon. The room was bathed in an eerie blue light, the air thick with ozone. The sphere hummed with a low, insistent energy. A wave of fear swept through the Senate. Even the most powerful races, like the Xynth, who prided themselves on their advanced technology, felt a primal fear of the unknown. The humans, those once considered so backward, had found a way to exploit a weakness in their understanding of the universe, a weakness that threatened their very existence. Suddenly, a voice boomed from the Xynth sector. "How dare you threaten us with such barbarity?" It was Senator Xylo. He had risen to his feet, his normally placid face contorted in rage. "We will not allow you to destabilize the Galactic Council." Anya met his gaze with a steady calm. "Senator Xylo, I assure you, this is not an act of aggression. We have no intention of harming anyone. This weapon is a demonstration, a warning, if you will." The Senate was silent, each senator locked in a silent struggle between fear and curiosity. Xylo, fueled by anger and fear, pressed his point. "A warning? Of what?" Anya turned, her gaze sweeping across the Senate, meeting each senator's eyes. "A warning about the arrogance of progress, about the dangers of neglecting the fundamental laws of the universe, about the fact that even the most advanced technology can be rendered useless by a weapon born from the very foundations of existence." She gestured to the sphere. "This weapon is not about the destruction of empires. It is about the preservation of balance. It is a reminder that even the mightiest civilizations are vulnerable, and that the universe holds forces beyond our understanding." The Senate was now fully engaged, the air thick with tension. Xylo, though still apprehensive, saw a flicker of curiosity in the eyes of his colleagues. Anya continued, her voice dropping to a softer tone. "The humans are not here to conquer. We are here to learn, to share, to build a future where all races can thrive. But we will not be ignored. We will not be underestimated, and we will not hesitate to defend ourselves." As Anya concluded her speech, a tense silence filled the chamber. The humans, those once considered insignificant, now stood at the precipice of a new reality. The power of their primitive weapon was undeniable, but it was their message, their conviction, that truly resonated. The Galactic Senate, for the first time in centuries, was truly shaken. The story now takes a dramatic turn. A clandestine faction within the Galactic Council, driven by fear and ambition, seizes the opportunity. The faction, known as the Guardians of Order, believes the humans' power is too unpredictable, too dangerous. They initiate a covert plan to eliminate the human threat, utilizing their own vast resources and technology. Xylo, still unsure of the humans' true intentions, but feeling a strong sense of responsibility for the safety of the Galactic Council, finds himself caught in the middle. He becomes aware of the Guardians of Order's plot and must make a choice: expose their treachery, risking a galactic war, or stay silent and possibly condemn the humans to an unwarranted fate. This twist, introducing the Guardians of Order, adds a new layer of complexity to the story. It raises the stakes, forcing the reader to question. Senator Xylo of the Cuthar, known for his imposing stature and even more imposing intellect, watched the transmission with a mixture of disbelief and rising panic. The human ambassador, a slender, almost frail-looking being named Anya, had just unveiled their primitive weapon, a device that emitted a strange humming sound, accompanied by a blue glow that seemed to pulsate with an unnatural energy. It was undeniably small, easily dwarfed by the Cuthar's advanced weaponry, yet Xylo felt a primal fear creep into his heart. This, Anya's voice, amplified through the Galactic Senate's intricate translation system, echoed across the vast chamber, is the human coalition's response to the galactic threat. The murmurs that followed were a symphony of skepticism and derision. The Cuthar, who had dominated the galactic stage for centuries with their powerful warships and energy weapons, couldn't fathom how this toy could pose any threat. But Xylo, a seasoned diplomat and observer of human history, felt a gnawing unease. He had witnessed the rise and fall of countless civilizations, their technological advancements often masking a fatal flaw. The twist arrived not from the weapon itself, but from the human ambassador's next words. "This device," she continued, "is not a weapon of destruction, but a weapon of creation." The hum of the device intensified, and a faint blue light began to emanate from the Qthar's own energy projectors. The Qthar counselors, including Xylo, watched in stunned silence as the blue light grew brighter, engulfing their ship in an otherworldly aura. Then, a wave of disorientation washed over them. They felt a strange, almost pleasurable tingle as a surge of energy flowed through their bodies. The human ambassador continued. This device is not a weapon of war, but a weapon of evolution. It is designed to awaken the latent potential within all sentient life forms, to unlock the true power of the universe. The revelation hit the Galactic Senate like a supernova. The Qthar, proud of their technological superiority, had never considered the possibility of exceeding their own limitations. The other species, some fearful, others intrigued, watched as the Qthar, their once formidable energy weapons now pulsing with a vibrant blue light, began to shift and evolve. The human ambassador, her face illuminated by the strange blue glow, looked out at the trembling Senate. "The choice is yours," she declared. "Will you join us on this path of evolution, or will you be left behind?" Xylo felt a surge of confusion, fear, and a strange, exhilarating sense of possibility. The human ambassador's words echoed in his mind, challenging his understanding of the universe. The Qthar, their pride wounded, were now faced with a choice that would shape the fate of their civilization and the galaxy itself. The Galactic Senate trembled, not just from fear of the unknown, but from the realization that the humans had brought not a threat, but a catalyst for change. And for Xylo, the truth was as unsettling as it was fascinating. The primitive weapon was a weapon of awakening, a key to unlocking a power beyond their wildest imaginings. And he, like the rest of the galaxy, was about to find out what that power truly held. Senator Ayla, the Xandarian delegate, felt a cold sweat prickle her scaled skin. It wasn't just the oppressive heat of the Galactic Senate chamber, but the chilling realization that humanity, the primitive species, had just revealed a weapon unlike anything they'd seen before. The weapon, a simple, hand-held device with a glowing sphere at its core, had effortlessly destroyed a dreadnought, the pinnacle of Xandarian engineering. "What is it?" she hissed to her advisor, a sleek, silver-skinned Xandarian named Kaido. "How can something so simple be so powerful?" Kaido, who usually exuded an aura of calmness, was visibly rattled. I don't know, Senator. Our sensors are overloaded. The energy signature is unlike anything we've encountered. It's almost organic." The chamber buzzed with whispers of disbelief and fear. The Galactic Council, the governing body of the known galaxy, had been complacent, believing humanity's technology to be centuries behind theirs. They'd underestimated the ingenuity and resourcefulness of the young species. As the tremors of disbelief settled, a new voice rose, smooth and hypnotic, a voice that echoed through the chamber. "The weapon, my esteemed colleagues," said the human senator, his eyes blazing with an intensity that belied his calm tone, "is not a weapon of destruction, but a weapon of hope. It is a weapon that can heal the wounds of the galaxy, a weapon that can bring peace where there is conflict." He paused, allowing the weight of his words to settle. "We call it the harmony generator. It manipulates the very fabric of reality, rewriting the laws of physics to generate a field of pure energy. This energy can be used to build, to heal, to create, or to dismantle, to disarm, to neutralize." A collective gasp swept through the chamber. The very air seemed to crackle with the implications of his words. The harmony generator wasn't just a weapon, it was a tool that could reshape the galaxy itself. Ayla felt a flicker of unease. This was not the humanity she had envisioned. The humans she had encountered were peaceful, driven by a desire to explore and learn. This new display of power, this manipulation of the very fabric of reality, was unsettling, even frightening. Suddenly, the chamber lights flickered and died, plunging them into darkness. A guttural growl echoed from the speakers, a voice that sent shivers down Ayla's spine. "You dare challenge the established order? You think you can rewrite the rules of the galaxy? You will be dealt with." The voice belonged to the tyrant, the leader of the notorious Necron Empire. The tyrant had been a constant threat to galactic stability, his ruthless ambition fueled by a desire to rule the galaxy through fear and terror. Ayla felt a surge of panic. The tyrant had long coveted the harmony generator, seeing it as the ultimate tool of domination. Now, it seemed, he had decided to act. The chamber plunged into chaos, the whispers of disbelief replaced by the panic screams of fear. As the senators scrambled for safety, Ayla found herself caught in the maelstrom. But then, a new light appeared. A brilliant white glow emanated from the harmony generator, pushing back the darkness and illuminating the entire chamber. The tyrant's growl was replaced by a startled gasp, a sound of surprise and confusion. The humans had unleashed a power that could rewrite the very laws of physics. And now, the galaxy trembled as they prepared to face the tyrant, not with weapons of war, but with the very fabric of reality itself. The silence in the Galactic Senate chamber was so profound, it echoed. Every senator, every ambassador, every being from every corner of the known galaxy stared at the screen displaying the image of a seemingly simple, unassuming device. It was a sphere no bigger than a human hand, made of a metallic alloy unknown to most of the assembled. It emanated a faint hum, a whisper of power. The humans call it a bomb, Senator Xylo, a towering insectoid with chitinous skin and 6 eyes, finally spoke, his voice trembling. He was the lead envoy to the human sector, responsible for establishing diplomatic ties and understanding their culture. He hadn't expected this. A bomb, scoffed Lord Vark, a reptilian senator with scales shimmering with 1,000 colors. A primitive, barbaric weapon. I've seen the humans. Their technology is quaint. This is a joke, a distraction from their technological inferiority. But the humans, represented by the quiet, unassuming ambassador, Anya, didn't laugh. She watched the senators, their faces etched with disbelief and amusement, with a serene calm that was somehow unsettling. This is not a joke, Anya spoke, her voice steady despite the tension in the room. It is a weapon of immense power, capable of devastating destruction. She moved towards the center of the chamber, stopping at the holographic projection. The image flickered, and the sphere grew in size, its hum intensifying. The senators flinched, some even drawing back from the screen. The chamber was filled with a low, electric hum, a sense of foreboding palpable. This bomb, Anya continued, her eyes scanning the room, meeting the gaze of each senator in turn, was used in a recent conflict. It eradicated a large city, killing millions. The humans understand the terrible power they wield, the potential for devastation. Yet, they are also aware of the consequences of their actions, the repercussions that extend beyond immediate destruction. She paused, her gaze fixed on Lord Vark, who had stood, his reptilian features contorted in a sneer. You see, Lord Vark, this bomb is not just a weapon. It is a message that even the most powerful species in this galaxy must recognize the limits of their power. It is a reminder that even the most advanced technology can be surpassed by the simplest of weapons, by the unyielding human spirit. Anya's words hung in the air, charged with a power that defied explanation. The senators, stunned into silence, looked at each other, their faces reflecting fear and a dawning comprehension. But just as the tension reached its peak, a new twist emerged. A tremor shook the Senate chamber, a low, guttural sound reverberating through the building. "What is that?" Lord Vark shouted, his voice filled with panic. Suddenly, the holographic projection flickered, the image of the bomb warping and distorting. The hum in the room intensified, growing into a deafening roar. The senators began to scramble, their eyes wide with terror. "This is not a bomb," Anya announced, her voice tight with urgency. "It is a beacon." The chamber pulsed with energy, a blinding light engulfing the room. Anya, her face etched with a mixture of hope and apprehension, watched as the light subsided, revealing a new reality, a new danger. The humans, it seemed, had not merely unveiled a weapon, they had unlocked a doorway to something far more ancient, far more terrifying than any bomb. The hushed whispers of the Galactic Senate, normally a symphony of political maneuvering, were now a cacophony of fear. The spectacle of the human primitive weapon had shaken them to their core. Senator Xylo, a seasoned politician from the Xylo system, felt his usual composure slipping. He watched the holographic image of the human weapon, a crude, cobbled-together contraption compared to the sleek, efficient weapons of the Galactic Alliance, yet it had brought down a whole squadron of the Alliance's most advanced warships. The humans had, in the eyes of the Galactic Council, been a peaceful, undeveloped race, content with their primitive technology and uninterested in galactic politics. Their sudden display of power had shattered this illusion. Xylo turned to Senator Eris, his closest confidante, a Cretan with scales the color of amethysts. "What do we do?" he whispered, his voice shaking. "The humans are a threat. They could destabilize the entire galaxy." Eris, despite her calm demeanor, was equally disturbed. "We need to understand them," she said, her voice low and guttural. "Why would they launch such an attack? What are their motivations?" The answer came in the form of a transmission from the human ambassador, a young woman with bright, inquisitive eyes. She addressed the Senate directly, her voice echoing through the chamber. "We are not your enemy," she said, her tone unwavering. "We are a people who seek to protect ourselves and our home. This weapon, this primitive weapon as you call it, was designed to deter aggression, not to attack. We do not want war. We want peace, but we will not hesitate to defend ourselves." The Senate erupted in a chorus of dissent. The humans, they argued, were clearly a danger, a rogue force that needed to be controlled. They called for swift action, for a show of force that would remind the humans of their place in the galactic order. Xylo, however, felt a twinge of doubt. The ambassador's sincerity, the desperation in her voice, resonated with him. He knew that the Galactic Alliance had not been blameless in its interactions with the humans. Perhaps, he thought, their fear was misplaced. The twist came in the form of a new transmission, this one from the human planet itself. It showed a fleet of ships, colossal in size and incredibly advanced, converging on their own planet. They were not the ships of the Galactic Alliance. They were ships from the Zidonian Empire, a ruthless, militaristic force that had been banished from the galaxy for its violent conquests. The humans, it turned out, were not the aggressors. They were the victims, fighting for their survival. The Galactic Senate fell silent. The truth had been revealed, and with it, a new understanding of the humans. They were not a threat, but a people fighting for their lives. Senator Xylo, standing tall, felt a sense of relief. He raised his hand, silencing the murmurs in the chamber. "We have been mistaken," he declared. "We must stand with the humans. We must fight together against the Zidonian threat." The Galactic Senate, still reeling from the sudden change of events, watched as the human ambassador, a glimmer of hope in her eyes, nodded in agreement. The threat of a galactic war had been averted, not by force, but by understanding. The humans, with their primitive weapon, had inadvertently revealed the true enemy, forcing the galaxy to confront its own prejudices. And in that moment of truth, a new alliance was forged, an alliance that would face the Zidonians together, proving that even the most seemingly primitive weapons could be forged into the tools of peace. The air in the Galactic Senate chamber was thick with tension. Chancellor Vash's proclamation that humans possessed a weapon of primitive nature had sent shockwaves across the assembled delegates. The once confident whispers of alien superiority were now laced with a nervous tremor. It was a weapon they knew nothing about, a weapon wielded by a species they had dismissed as barbaric. Senator Corrin, the imposing Caithran leader with his chitinous carapace and shimmering, multifaceted eyes, was the first to break the silence. "The humans claim this weapon is capable of unimaginable devastation. Chancellor, do you believe their claims are credible?" Vash, a serene Tizan with a voice that could calm a tempest, responded calmly. "The reports are credible, Senator. The evidence we have gathered is incontrovertible. The humans call this weapon the bomb." A ripple of fear ran through the chamber. The word bomb was enough to send shivers down the spines of even the most hardened delegates. The Caithran Empire, for all their technological prowess, knew nothing of such a weapon. They had always relied on their superior strength and numbers, their warships capable of devastating entire planets. But now, a single weapon held the potential to unravel their entire civilization. The human ambassador, a tall, wiry man named Thomas, stepped forward, his gaze unwavering. "We are a people who have learned the hard way the consequences of unchecked power," he said, his voice devoid of any trace of bravado. "We are not barbarians, but we are not afraid to use force to defend what is ours. The bomb is a tool, Senator Corrin, a tool that can be used for good or for evil. We hope that we will never have to use it, but we will not hesitate to do so if our existence is threatened." The Cathran senator, his multifaceted eyes narrowed, seemed to be weighing his words. But it was Senator Kira, the enigmatic human-like reptilian leader of the Vilar, who spoke next. "The humans have a point, Chancellor," she said, her voice smooth and alluring. "The threat they pose cannot be ignored. We must engage in dialogue, not just with the humans, but with all factions of the Galactic Council. We must find a way to prevent conflict, to ensure that this weapon never sees the light of day." A tense debate followed, with various factions voicing their concerns and opinions. The humans, once dismissed as insignificant, had suddenly become a major power, their primitive weapon a potent symbol of their newfound strength. The Galactic Senate was in turmoil, with fear and uncertainty overshadowing the traditional political maneuvers. But within the Senate chamber, a new force was at play. Kira, the Vilar leader, had her own agenda. She had always viewed the Cathran Empire with suspicion, their domineering presence a constant threat to her people. The arrival of the humans had opened up a new possibility, a chance to shift the balance of power. She had already made discreet contact with Thomas, offering a covert alliance, a way to ensure that the humans would not be exploited by the Cathrans. As the debate raged, a new twist emerged. A panicked report arrived from the outer sectors. The Cathran Empire was mobilizing their fleet. They were preparing for war. The Galactic Senate, already reeling from the threat of the bomb, was now confronted with a new, more immediate danger. The humans, their primitive weapon now a sword hanging over the heads of the Cathrans, were thrust into the center of the galactic stage. Their fate, and the fate of the galaxy, hung in the balance. The stage was set for a conflict that could rewrite the history of the galaxy, a conflict where the power of primitive technology would clash with the arrogance of a galactic empire. The silence in the Galactic Senate was thick enough to choke on. Senators, clad in their shimmering robes and intricate alien garb, stared at the screen with a mixture of disbelief and fear. A single, rusty, almost comical-looking object hung in the void, illuminated by the pale, sickly light of the sun. It was a weapon, they knew, but its simplicity, its sheer mundanity, was terrifying. This is the human's ultimate weapon, Senator Xylo, his scales shimmering with anxiety, croaked. A towering figure, cloaked in the obsidian robes of the Council of Elders, stepped forward. His name was Lorak, and he was the most respected leader in the galaxy. "It seems so," he said, his voice deep and resonant. "The humans call it a nuclear bomb." "A nuclear bomb?" Senator Zora, her antennae twitching with impatience, snorted. "That's absurd. It looks like a rusted, overgrown can." Lorak remained impassive. "It is more than it appears, Senator. Their scientists have harnessed the power of the atom, a force beyond our comprehension. This bomb, they say, can destroy entire planets." The Senate erupted in a cacophony of fear and confusion. Humans, the technologically backward race that had been admitted to the Galactic Senate only a few centuries ago, now possessed the power to obliterate entire civilizations. The news was a shock, but it was what happened next that truly shattered the fragile peace. A young human representative, Senator Amelia Thorne, stood up. Her human features were unassuming, her eyes filled with a steely resolve. "The weapon is a tool, not a threat," she stated, her voice clear and firm. "We are not barbarians. We will not use this weapon for aggression." Her words were met with skepticism, but Amelia pressed on. "This bomb is a symbol of our past, a reminder of the destruction we are capable of. But it is also a testament to our ingenuity, our resilience. We have overcome our darkest moments, and we will not allow our past to define our future." Her speech was met with a stunned silence. Then, Senator Zora, her antennae still twitching, spoke. "But what guarantee do we have that you will not use this weapon against us?" Amelia looked her in the eye, her resolve unwavering. "The guarantee lies in our shared future. We are part of the Galactic Senate now. We share your destiny, your fears, your hopes. We will not betray that trust." The words hung in the air. There was a sense of uncertainty, a flicker of hope, within the Senate. Amelia's words, however simple, had resonated with a truth that resonated with many. But the twist, the complication, lay in the fact that Amelia had been sent here with a secret mission. Her own species, fractured by internal conflict, had divided into two factions, the peacekeepers and the warmongers. The warmongers, led by a ruthless general named Vance, believed that the weapon was a tool for dominance, a way to force the galaxy to bow to their will. Amelia had been tasked with a perilous mission, to convince the Galactic Senate that the peacekeepers were the true representatives of humanity, while simultaneously concealing the true depth of the conflict brewing back on Earth. She knew that her words could either bring peace or ignite war. The fate of the galaxy and her own people hung in the balance. The hushed whispers of the Galactic Senate, buzzing like agitated insects, fell silent as Senator Xian, human representative, finished his speech. He stood tall, a calm defiance in his stance, his gaze sweeping over the assembly of alien dignitaries. "The Galactic Union has become complacent," he stated, his voice resonating through the cavernous chamber, "believing our weapons are sufficient to deter any threat. But the threat is not always overt. It is often insidious, slow-burning, and ultimately devastating." A ripple of unease went through the senators. Many, like Senator Xylo of the NR, a reptilian species known for their fierce militarism, were skeptical. Others, like Senator Alita of the Andros, a gentle, empathic race, were apprehensive, their fears amplified by the human's words. Xian continued, "We present to you not a weapon of annihilation, but a weapon of transformation. It is a tool that harnesses the power of the very fabric of reality, twisting it to our will." The air crackled with anticipation. A holographic projection flickered to life, displaying a stark image of a spherical device, its surface pulsating with a mesmerizing emerald light. It was unlike any technology the Senate had ever encountered. This, senators, is the Genesis engine. It is a device capable of altering the very laws of physics, creating anomalies in space-time, and bending the will of matter itself. The Senate chamber erupted in gasps and murmurs. Even Xylo, known for his stoic demeanor, leaned forward, eyes wide with fascination and apprehension. Alita, her empathic nature tingling with unease, found herself strangely drawn to the mysterious device. "But the power of the Genesis engine is not without its risks," Xian continued, his voice softening. "It is a delicate balance, a tightrope walk between creation and destruction. It requires an understanding, a deep connection to the very essence of reality. A connection, I fear, many in this chamber may not possess." He paused, allowing the weight of his words to sink in. The tension in the chamber was palpable. "The Genesis engine is a weapon for the chosen few," Xian concluded, "a weapon for those who understand its power and its potential. Those who are willing to embrace the unknown and navigate the treacherous path of creation." The twist came not from the Genesis engine itself, but from the human's final words. As he uttered them, a wave of whispers rippled through the senators, not of fear or excitement, but of suspicion and betrayal. "And who?" Senator Xylo boomed, his reptilian eyes narrowed. "Are these chosen few? Are they to be chosen by humans, by this so-called primitive race?" Xian remained calm, his eyes unwavering. "The power of the Genesis engine," he declared, "is not for us to wield alone. It is a power to be shared, to be understood, to be mastered. It is a power that demands a change in perspective, a willingness to break free from the shackles of our past." He was right, thought Alita. This was not simply a weapon, but a tool for change, a chance to rewrite the rules of the universe. But who would be the chosen few? Who would wield this power, and at what cost? The seeds of doubt had been sown. The Galactic Senate trembled not only at the power of the Genesis engine, but at the unsettling possibility that the humans, the primitive race, had stumbled upon a power that could reshape their destinies. And they, the powerful and the proud, were now caught in the crossfire, their future hanging in the balance. The silence in the Senate chamber was deafening, broken only by the hushed murmurs of the assembled delegates. Senator Xylo, the tall, lanky Xandrian with his signature purple skin and unsettlingly placid expression, cleared his throat. The Federation, he began, his voice echoing through the vast chamber, has always prided itself on its technological advancement. It is therefore with great concern that we witness this display of primitive weaponry. The humans, a young species barely a century old, had presented their weapon, a simple wooden box, intricately carved with symbols that spoke of a civilization steeped in ancient wisdom, a civilization not yet shackled to the tyranny of technology. Senator Xylo continued, "While the power source remains unknown, it is clear that the box possesses a formidable capacity for destruction. This raises grave concerns about the humans' intentions. Are they seeking to impose their will on the galaxy? To subjugate other species?" The chamber buzzed with whispered anxieties. Senator Xylo, a renowned strategist and a staunch advocate for galactic peace, was clearly unsettled. His words resonated with the elders of the Senate, who remembered the devastating wars of their own past, wars fueled by the insatiable hunger for technological supremacy. Across the chamber, Senator Jin, a fiery woman with skin the color of molten gold, rose to her feet. Her eyes, two shimmering emeralds, locked onto Xylo's. "Senator Xylo," she declared, "your concerns are understandable. Yet, the humans have demonstrated a remarkable restraint, unveiling this weapon only after years of peaceful coexistence with the Federation. They have chosen dialogue and diplomacy over aggression." Jin, a fervent supporter of the humans, understood their history. She knew that their weapon was not born out of ambition, but out of necessity, a desperate attempt to survive against overwhelming odds. She knew the humans were a people who cherished peace, who valued life above all else. The chamber fell silent once more, the weight of the humans' weapon, and the potential it held, pressing down upon them. Suddenly, a tremor shook the chamber. A collective gasp rose from the assembled delegates as the lights flickered and died, plunging the chamber into darkness. A low, guttural growl echoed through the chamber. It was then that the new complication unfolded. The humans, instead of panicking, stood firm. Their leader, a woman with kind eyes and a calm demeanor, raised her hand, and the wooden box glowed with an ethereal light. The glow grew brighter, pulsating with an energy that seemed to pierce the darkness. Then, in the absolute silence of the chamber, a voice spoke. It wasn't human. It was a language ancient and powerful, a language that echoed in the very heart of the galaxy, a language the Senate had long forgotten. It spoke of a forgotten enemy, a slumbering threat that had been waiting, biding its time for millennia. The Senate trembled, not just from the power of the weapon, but from the realization that the humans had revealed a danger far greater than anyone could have imagined. They were not seeking to conquer, they were seeking to protect the galaxy from a threat that had existed long before the first stars ignited. The humans had not brought peace. They had brought the dawn of a new era, an era of war against a foe that transcended the boundaries of space and time. The galaxy was no longer on the brink of war. It was on the precipice of a battle for its very existence. The silence in the Galactic Senate chamber was deafening. The holographic projection of Earth, a vibrant blue marble against the black void, hung suspended in the air. The senators, representatives of countless alien races, stared at it, their expressions ranging from bewilderment to terror. On the dais, the human ambassador, a woman named Anya stood with an air of calm authority. Her face, etched with the wisdom of countless years, held an unflinching gaze as she addressed the assembly. "We understand your apprehension," she began, her voice a soothing melody in the tense atmosphere. "You have witnessed the power of our primitive weapon. But allow me to assure you, it is not a tool of aggression. It is a shield, a last bastion of defense against an enemy we have yet to face. A ripple of murmurs swept through the chamber. The truth was, the humans were a relatively new member of the Galactic Federation. Their technology, while impressive in some areas, lagged behind the advanced civilizations that had dominated the galaxy for millennia. This primitive weapon, as they called it, had caught everyone by surprise. Anya continued, her voice unwavering. We have long been aware of a hidden threat lurking at the edge of the galaxy, a sentient being of unimaginable power. This being, known as the Voidwalker, seeks to consume everything in its path, to unravel the fabric of reality itself. This is the enemy we must prepare to face, and our weapon, while crude in its design, is the only known means to resist it. Senator Xylo, a towering, reptilian creature with glowing eyes, spoke up. But this weapon, you say it can tear apart the very fabric of reality. Are you not afraid of its potential for destruction? Anya met his gaze, her expression unreadable. The Voidwalker seeks to destroy everything. It knows no mercy. If we do not stand against it, we will all be consumed. This weapon is not a threat to you. It is a safeguard against a far greater danger. As Anya spoke, a young senator, a member of the insectoid race known as the Xylossian, leaned towards a colleague. I can't help but feel there's more to this story, he whispered. What kind of enemy would drive the humans to such desperate measures? His colleague, a tall, slender being with iridescent scales, nodded in agreement. It's true. The humans are known for their pragmatism. They wouldn't deploy such a weapon lightly. Anya, sensing the growing distrust, made a bold decision. She knew that trust, and ultimately, cooperation, was essential in their fight against the Voidwalker. She glanced at the holographic projection of Earth, a faint blue glow emanating from its core. We are willing to share the technology behind this weapon, she declared. We understand that it is a significant leap of faith, but we believe that together, we can forge a future free from the Voidwalker's tyranny. A wave of gasps rippled through the Senate chamber. The offer was unprecedented, a gesture of unprecedented trust. But the fear and suspicion lingered, like a shadow cast by the looming threat of the Voidwalker. The Galactic Senate trembled, not from the power of a primitive weapon, but from the weight of a choice that would shape the future of the galaxy. They were about to witness the birth of a new alliance, forged in the crucible of fear and fueled by the hope of a shared destiny. The silence in the Galactic Senate chamber was almost unbearable. Even the hum of the energy shields seemed to have ceased, replaced by the collective gasp of the assembled dignitaries. The humans, those seemingly backward, agrarian species, had just unveiled their primitive weapon, a device powered by the fusion of matter and antimatter. Senator Xylo, representative of the powerful Xylossian Empire, slammed his fist on the table. This is outrageous. How dare they brandish such a destructive force? Their technology is nothing compared to the elegant power of our Xylossian plasma cannons. His outrage was echoed across the chamber. The Catharian delegation, notorious for their razor-sharp political minds, remained silent, their expressions unreadable. Their ambassador, the enigmatic Xylo, simply observed the humans with a keen, unsettling gaze. The human delegate, a woman named Captain Amelia Vance, stood tall despite the hostile stares. This device is not for aggression, she declared, her voice carrying a quiet strength. It is a shield, a last bastion of defense against those who would seek to destroy us. The assembly scoffed. Shields were commonplace across the galaxy, usually powered by advanced energy fields. This primitive device, with its reliance on raw, volatile power, seemed ludicrously inefficient. Amelia knew their skepticism, but she had seen the desperation in the eyes of her people. They were a young species, still learning to navigate the vast and unforgiving cosmos. Their neighbors, powerful and ancient, saw them as a threat, a potential rival. The humans, in their naivety, believed in diplomacy, in building bridges, but their efforts were met with suspicion and hostility. You may call it primitive, but it is potent, Amelia continued, her eyes hardening. We have witnessed the destruction your weapons have wrought. We have seen the devastation of entire planets, the annihilation of entire civilizations. A tremor ran through the chamber. The truth of her words resonated even among the most hardened diplomats. The Xylossian Empire, obsessed with power, had a history of crushing dissent, leaving countless worlds in ruins. A new voice broke the tension. It was Xylo, the Catharian ambassador, speaking in a language that resonated across the chamber as if a mental transmission. "Humans," he said, his voice carrying a strange, almost unsettling, calmness. "We have seen your heart. We have seen your fear, your desperation, your desire for peace." The assembly watched, confused, as Xylo continued. "This weapon, this primitive device, it is not just a shield. It is a testament to your spirit, a symbol of your will to survive. It is the sound of your voice, the voice of a species fighting for its existence." Amelia felt a surge of hope, a glimmer of understanding in the darkness of this hostile chamber. The Catharian ambassador, the representative of a race known for their strategic brilliance and ruthless ambition, was offering an unexpected olive branch. But before she could speak, a new complication emerged. A loud alarm resonated through the chamber, the red lights flashing ominously. "Emergency alert! Unknown vessel detected approaching the Senate building. Engaging defenses." The humans and the assembled dignitaries exchanged terrified glances. The attack had come, a lightning strike from the shadows. The Senate trembled, caught in the crossfire of an escalating galactic war. The silence in the Galactic Senate chamber was deafening. Senator Ethel, the esteemed Xandarian, his scales shimmering under the artificial sunlight, was the first to break it. This is impossible," he stammered, his voice a high-pitched whistle. "Human technology is primitive. How could they?" His voice trailed off, a flicker of fear momentarily replacing his usual air of superiority. The humans, a fledgling race at the edge of the galaxy, had just presented their primitive weapon. It was, to their collective horror, a weapon of unimaginable power. The weapon, a bulky, unassuming contraption that resembled a rusty old pipe, was known as the nuke. It was an energy source harnessed from the heart of a dying star, a technology considered barbaric by the advanced races of the Galactic Federation. The humans, represented by their ambassador, a young woman named Anya, stood proudly, their faces stoic despite the tension in the air. Anya, with her determined gaze and fiery red hair, was a stark contrast to the sleek, silver-skinned Xandarians or the imposing Horntorians. She spoke with a calm confidence that belied the power of the weapon they had brought. "We understand the skepticism," Anya said, her voice strong and unwavering. "Our technology may seem primitive compared to yours, but we believe it is effective. The nuke is a weapon of last resort, a force to be reckoned with, one that can bring even the mightiest empires to their knees." The Senate, comprised of representatives from hundreds of sentient species, was in a state of utter shock. This was not just any weapon, it was a weapon of unprecedented destruction. A single blast could obliterate entire planets, leaving nothing but a swirling nebula of dust and radiation. As Anya continued her presentation, detailing the nuke's capabilities, a new voice cut through the hushed murmurs. It was the Chancellor, a wise old Xylonian, his body a symphony of metallic wires and flickering lights. "The power you wield, human ambassador, is truly awe-inspiring. But we must also consider the implications. What will stop you from using this weapon against your own people, against your allies, against us?" Anya paused, her gaze unwavering. "We understand your concerns, Chancellor. We believe in the power of diplomacy, of cooperation. The nuke is a deterrent, a safeguard. It is a tool to ensure our survival in a galaxy that is not always kind to the weak." But the Chancellor's words struck a chord. A dark cloud of suspicion began to loom over the Senate chamber. Many feared the humans, their technology, their ruthlessness. They wondered if this weapon was truly a deterrent or a harbinger of chaos, a threat to the delicate balance of power in the galaxy. Adding to the tension, a new complication arose. The Taurians, a militaristic race known for their insatiable ambition, had been secretly plotting to take control of the galaxy. They saw the nuke as the perfect tool to achieve their goal, and their ambitions now began to stir. The Galactic Senate trembled, not from fear of the humans, but from the fear of what the humans' weapon might unleash. The stage was set for a dangerous game of power, and the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. The future, it seemed, would be shaped by the humans and their primitive weapon, a weapon that had the potential to either unite or destroy the galaxy. The Galactic Senate, a swirling mass of alien dignitaries, had never seen a weapon like it. Humans, known for their technological prowess, had presented a crude, wooden bow and arrow. Laughter rippled through the chamber, echoing off the glittering, bioluminescent walls. Senator Xylo of the Velar, his 6 eyes blinking in amusement, leaned towards Senator Alora of the Kale. "They call it a weapon?" Xylo rasped, a low chuckle escaping his throat. "It's hardly more than a child's toy." Alora, her skin shimmering with an iridescent sheen, smirked. "Perhaps they are trying to humor us. After all, they are known for their unique brand of humor." The laughter turned to outright derision as the human envoy, a woman named Captain Anya, stepped forward. Her gaze, clear and unflinching, swept across the Senate. "This weapon, senators, is not primitive. It is a tool of precision, of focus, of calculated violence. It demands skill and discipline, qualities your civilizations have perhaps forgotten." Her words, though seemingly innocuous, ignited a fire in the heart of Senator Alora. She'd been a warrior, leading her people against a brutal enemy. She'd seen firsthand the devastation of advanced weaponry, the cold efficiency of technology that reduced life to a mere calculation. Alora leaned forward, her voice low and steady. "Captain Anya, I've seen enough death. I've seen enough civilizations fall, their technology turning against them. I believe you, but I need proof. Prove to me that this primitive weapon can rival our advanced arsenals." The Senate held its breath. Anya, sensing an opening, smiled. "Very well, Senator, I shall offer you a demonstration." She turned towards the holographic projector, a single arrow quivering in her hand. As she knocked the arrow, a tremor of fear ran through the Senate. Anya, with the utmost precision, sent the arrow flying across the chamber. The senators watched, their eyes wide, as it pierced through the holographic projector, causing a shimmering distortion in the image. Gasps filled the chamber as the hologram flickered and vanished, leaving the room bathed in darkness. Panic seized the senators, their whispers turning to shouts as they stumbled in the sudden gloom. Then, a single, piercing scream split the night. Senator Xylo, his fear visible in the widening of his 6 eyes, clutched his chest, the arrow buried deep within his heart. The light flickered back on, revealing the silent, horrified faces of the Senate. The arrow, a simple wooden projectile, had pierced through their advanced technology and ended a life with brutal efficiency. Anya stood calmly amidst the stunned silence. She had shown them the true power of the bow, the power of the human spirit. However, the Senate's fear was overshadowed by a new, and even more unsettling feeling: resentment. Their arrogance, their trust in technology, had been shaken, and as the dust settled, the question remained: what would they do with this new knowledge? Would they choose to embrace the power of the human spirit, or would they succumb to the seductive allure of technology? This was just the beginning. The true game had just begun. The silence in the Galactic Senate was so thick it could be cut with a lightsaber. The human ambassador, a young woman named Anya, stood tall despite the weight of every senator's gaze upon her. Her face was a mask of calm, but her heart pounded in her chest. She knew this was her moment, the culmination of years of tireless work, a gamble that could either bring peace to the galaxy or plunge it into chaos. "This," she said, holding aloft a small, unassuming object that pulsed with a faint, blue glow, "is a weapon, but not one you've ever encountered." The object was a simple device, barely the size of a fist, yet it held the potential to rewrite galactic history. The senators, many of whom had never even seen a human, scoffed. This was the weapon that had driven the fearsome human empire to the brink of extinction. A mere trinket compared to their advanced energy cannons and plasma projectors. "This," Anya continued, her voice unwavering, is a weapon that doesn't depend on firepower or destructive force. It is a weapon that utilizes the very fabric of reality itself, warping space-time and creating anomalies. Anya pressed a button, and the room, the Senate chamber, the very building they were in, began to shimmer and distort. The senators gasped, their faces contorted in fear as they felt themselves becoming detached from their own bodies, their senses becoming disoriented. "A weapon that can manipulate the fabric of reality?" scoffed Senator Xylo, a Trandoshan with a reputation for ruthlessness. "I've seen such claims before, human. All talk, no substance. Show us its true power." Anya smiled, a hint of a predatory gleam in her eyes. This was the twist, the gamble. She didn't need to prove the weapon's power to the Senate. She needed to prove it to someone else, someone who had been watching from the shadows. She held the device to her ear and whispered, "This is the first step. We will break their hold on the galaxy. We will fight fire with fire. We will. The transmission cut off. The senators, their eyes wide with fear and confusion, looked at each other, at Anya. Suddenly, a booming voice echoed through the chamber, a voice that sent shivers down their spines. It was the voice of the Grand Overseer, the leader of the galactic power known as the Obsidian Order, a force that had held the galaxy in its grip for centuries. "Interesting," the voice boomed. "An anomaly of your own, human. But I assure you, your little trinket is nothing compared to the power I wield." The senators realized they had walked into a trap. Anya wasn't merely trying to impress the Senate. She was using them as bait, as a distraction to draw out the Grand Overseer. The human's weapon was nothing compared to the Grand Overseer's power. However, Anya had a plan, a dangerous plan. She was playing a high-stakes game, and she was willing to sacrifice anything to win. The Senate chamber, now a whirlwind of shifting space-time, was about to become the stage for a battle for the fate of the galaxy. A battle where even the most powerful weapons were mere pawns in a game of cosmic chess. The humans, once deemed primitive, had just unveiled their deadliest weapon, not a weapon of destruction, but a weapon of manipulation, a weapon that could rewrite the fabric of reality itself. And with that, the galaxy held its breath. The silence in the Galactic Senate was thick enough to choke on. Senator Xylo, his scales shimmering with a disconcerting green luminescence, had just finished his scathing speech, denouncing the human, primitive weapon as a barbaric affront to galactic law. He gestured toward the holo-screen displaying the weapon, a simple, almost crude-looking device made of metal and wires. "This," Xylo sneered, "is the height of human savagery. A weapon that relies on brute force, violence, and destruction, rather than the elegance and precision of our advanced technology." A murmur of agreement rippled through the Senate chamber. Even among the human delegation, a sense of unease hung heavy in the air. Their ambassador, Anya, a woman with fiery red hair and eyes that held the depth of a starless sky, stood up. She knew the weapon was not just primitive, but a beacon of hope for humanity. "Senator Xylo," she began, her voice clear and unwavering. "You speak of brute force, but have you truly understood the nature of this weapon? It is not a tool of wanton destruction. It is a tool of defense, a final line of resistance against the very tyranny you claim to represent." Anya stepped closer to the holo-screen, her gaze locked on the weapon. "This is the Phoenix Cannon. Its power lies not in its destructive capacity, but in its ability to harness and redirect energy. It is a shield, a barrier, a force that can push back against any aggressor." She paused, her voice taking on a more somber tone. "We have witnessed the rise of the Galactic Empire, a power built on fear and control. Your technological prowess has brought about a new age of oppression, where dissent is crushed and individuality is extinguished. We, the humans, are a people who value freedom, who cherish diversity. We will not be silenced. We will not be enslaved." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of voices. Xylo, his face contorted in rage, shouted, "Lies! This is nothing but a threat to the established order, a challenge to the rightful authority of the Empire." Anya raised her hand, silencing the clamor. "You speak of order, Senator, but your order is built on the foundation of fear. Our weapon, the Phoenix Cannon, is a symbol of our will to resist, to defend our freedoms. It is a testament to our spirit, a spirit that will never be broken. A twist, a complication, emerged from the shadows. A sudden surge of energy pulsed through the Senate chamber, emanating from Xylossian himself. His scales turned a sickly shade of purple, his eyes glowing with an unnatural light. His voice, amplified by some unseen force, boomed through the chamber. "This defiance ends now," he declared, his voice echoing with a chilling power. "The Empire will not tolerate this threat. You will kneel before our might." Anya saw the fear in the eyes of her fellow human delegates, saw the doubt creeping into the hearts of the senators. But she, too, was changing. Her eyes shimmered with a newfound power, a strange resonance with the Phoenix Cannon. The weapon, responding to her will, pulsed with energy, mirroring the power that now flowed through Xylossian. The Galactic Senate was no longer just a political forum. It was a stage for a confrontation far greater than anyone could have imagined. The line between human and alien, between technology and magic, blurred in the face of an ancient force that had awakened. And Anya, standing before the Senate, knew that the fate of the galaxy rested on her shoulders. The silence in the Galactic Senate chamber was deafening, punctuated only by the erratic beeping of the sensor readings on the holographic projection. The colossal, metallic sphere, glowing with an unnatural energy, sat suspended in the center of the chamber, a stark reminder of the human ambassador's chilling words. "This, esteemed senators," he had said, his voice steady and clear despite the tremor in his hand, "is a weapon forged from the very essence of our sun." Senator Xylo, the esteemed representative of the Clivian Empire, adjusted her holographic mask, the metallic mesh shimmering in the dim light. Her thoughts were a chaotic whirlwind. This primitive weapon, as the humans called it, was more powerful than anything they'd ever encountered. The sheer energy signature, the hum of raw power radiating from the sphere, spoke of a threat far greater than their most sophisticated weaponry. Yet, she knew the humans were not a warlike race. Their history was rife with internal conflict, their societies plagued by division. Why, then, would they bring such a monstrous device to the Senate, a beacon of peace and diplomacy? The question gnawed at her, a festering doubt in the corner of her mind. Across the chamber, the Xylossian ambassador, Xylo, his antennae twitching with barely contained rage, leaned forward, his voice resonating with guttural anger. "This is a blatant display of force, an act of intimidation." Xylo knew he was right. The humans had, with this single act, shattered the delicate balance of power in the galaxy. The very foundations of their interconnected civilization were shaken. But then, a flicker of doubt, a seed of suspicion, took root in her mind. Xylo, his people, had a long history of aggression, of territorial expansion. Could this be a calculated move, a way to frighten the other races, to pave the way for their own ambitions? The human ambassador, a young woman named Anya, sensed the shift in the chamber's energy. She met Xylo's gaze, her own eyes a deep, bottomless blue, reflecting a strange mixture of sorrow and determination. "This weapon," Anya said, her voice low but unwavering, "is not meant for aggression. It is a testament to the power of our collective will, a force that can be used for destruction, but also for creation." She paused, her eyes sweeping across the stunned faces of the senators. "We have come here not to threaten, but to offer a choice. We can use this power to tear each other apart, or we can use it to build a future where peace and understanding prevail. The choice, senators, lies with you." Xylo felt a chill run down her spine. The humans had not only presented a weapon, but a choice. They had laid bare the vulnerabilities of their civilization, the potential for self-destruction that lurked beneath the surface. The chamber was silent again, the tension palpable. The weight of the decision, of the choice, rested on each senator's shoulders. Xylo knew, deep down, that this was just the beginning. The galaxy had entered a new era, one defined by a fragile peace, a precarious balance of power held together by the looming threat of a primitive weapon. And somewhere, in the shadows, a new conflict was brewing, a silent war of wills that would decide the fate of their civilization. The whispers of fear in the Galactic Senate had begun to coalesce into a choked silence. The human delegate, a woman named Anya, stood resolute amidst the glittering chrome and shimmering holograms of the Senate chamber, a single, impossibly ancient, wooden staff clutched in her hand. The Senate, comprised of beings from across the galaxy, had called the humans primitive, their technology backward. Now, as the staff crackled with an energy that seemed to pulse from the very heart of the universe, they began to understand the true meaning of the word primitive. Anya, her face etched with the wisdom of 1,000 years, spoke in a calm, steady voice. "You call us primitive. You call our technology crude. But perhaps you have forgotten the true meaning of power." Her eyes, the color of the deepest ocean, held the gaze of every senator in the chamber. "We have not spent millennia chasing technological advancements that merely serve to destroy. We have harnessed the power within, the power that binds us to the universe, the power that makes us who we are." The staff pulsed, growing brighter, its wooden surface shimmering with an almost liquid light. The energy it radiated was palpable, a primal force that whispered of ancient secrets and forgotten truths. The senators, their advanced technology suddenly feeling brittle and frail, could only watch, captivated by the sight. Suddenly, a commotion erupted in the chamber. A senator, a reptilian humanoid from the planet Xylos, known for his aggressive expansionist policies, leaped to his feet, his voice a venomous hiss. "This is a charade, a trick. Your so-called power is a sham." He reached for his blaster, a sleek, chrome device that he boasted was the most advanced weapon in the galaxy. But before he could pull the trigger, a blinding light erupted from the staff. The energy wave engulfed the Xylo senator, searing through his armor and leaving him charred and lifeless. The Senate chamber plunged into darkness, punctuated only by the faint, rhythmic hum of the staff. Anya, her voice calm but firm, addressed the stunned chamber. "This is not power for destruction. This is power for life, for growth, for understanding. You have chosen a path of conquest and control. We offer you a path of balance and harmony." The twist came in the form of a new senator, a young, ethereal being from the nebula of Spira, who had been silent until now. Her voice, like tinkling chimes, echoed throughout the chamber. "But what of the dangers? What of the threats that we face? Will your power be strong enough to protect us?" Anya smiled, her eyes twinkling with a light that reflected the staff's glow. "It is not about power alone," she replied. "It is about understanding, about unity. This power is not ours alone. It is a gift from the universe, a power that can be shared, a power that can be used for the good of all." A wave of relief washed over the senators. Their anxieties had shifted. Fear had given way to curiosity, to hope. The humans, it seemed, held not just a weapon, but a potential for a brighter future. The Galactic Senate trembled, not in fear, but in anticipation of what this new power might bring. The humans, once considered primitive, now stood at the precipice of a new era. They had shown the galaxy that true power was not found in technology, but in the deep, interconnected web of the universe, a web that bound them all together. And for the first time, the senators saw that perhaps the humans were not so primitive after all. The silence in the Galactic Senate chamber was so profound, it felt like a living entity, breathing heavily as the human's weapon hummed, a low, insistent vibration that seemed to crawl under your skin. Senator Xylo, of the Krill, felt his heart thud against his ribcage, a primal fear he hadn't known he possessed. This was not a weapon of the kind they'd expected. It was crude, yes, but there was something unsettlingly familiar about its simplicity. "This," the human ambassador, a woman named Sarah, said, her voice devoid of the usual diplomatic polish, "is a nuclear weapon. It is a weapon of mass destruction, but it is also a weapon of peace." Xylo blinked. Peace. The Krill were known for their swift, efficient weaponry, their lasers capable of vaporizing entire cities with the precision of a surgeon. This was a blunt instrument, a hammer compared to a scalpel. "Peace?" scoffed Senator Alara, a proud member of the Tizan, whose people had been locked in a decades-long territorial dispute with a Krill. "How can such a barbaric device bring peace?" Sarah looked at her with a faint smile. It brings peace by demonstrating the terrible consequences of war. It shows that our species, too, is capable of self-destruction. She took a deep breath. But it also shows that we have chosen not to. This weapon, though powerful, is meant to remain dormant. It is a deterrent, a reminder that the only true victory is the one that never happens. The senators exchanged nervous glances. The idea of a weapon designed solely to remain unused was alien to them. For generations, their cultures had been defined by the constant threat of war, by the need to prove their strength. This was a new paradigm, a terrifying, beautiful proposition. Then, the twist. As Sarah finished her speech, a tremor ran through the chamber, an almost imperceptible shift in the very fabric of reality. The humming of the nuclear weapon escalated, morphing into a high-pitched whine that set teeth on edge. The air crackled with static electricity. "What is happening?" Alara cried out, her face contorted in fear. Sarah's smile vanished, replaced by a grim expression. "This," she said, her voice tight with anxiety, "was not part of the plan." The tremor intensified, the room growing darker as a holographic projection of Earth appeared above the weapon, a planet in peril. On the screen, a series of red dots began to appear, spreading like wildfire. They were anomalies, disturbances in the space-time continuum, and they were growing rapidly. "This weapon, it's reacting to the anomalies," Sarah whispered, her voice laced with panic. It's trying to protect Earth. But it shouldn't be doing this. It's not supposed to have sentience." As the anomalies grew, the weapon's whine reached a fever pitch. The entire chamber pulsed with energy, the room vibrating with an unseen force. A wave of fear washed over the senators, a primal instinct to flee, to escape the chaos. But where could they run? The holographic Earth flickered and vanished. The hum of the weapon faded into silence, leaving an eerie quiet in its wake. The senators stared at each other, their faces pale with shock and disbelief. The humans had unleashed a weapon that was more than just a weapon. It was a force of nature, a living entity with a will of its own. And they had no idea what it was capable of. The silence in the Galactic Senate chamber was thick enough to choke on. Senator Xylo, a Telaran with iridescent scales and 6 spindly limbs, squirmed uncomfortably in his seat. The human ambassador, Kai, stood tall and unyielding, a stark contrast to the shimmering, ethereal beings around him. The demonstration was over. The primitive weapon, a seemingly innocuous, hand-sized device, had decimated a chunk of the Senate's holographic projection, leaving behind a gaping hole in the image of a peaceful, idyllic planet. A ripple of fear ran through the Senate. Whispers, punctuated by the chittering of the velar, filled the chamber. Senator Xylo, a veteran of countless interstellar conflicts, felt a shiver run down his spine. This wasn't just technology, it was an existential threat. "Is this your declaration of war?" rasped Senator Cygnus, an elder, avian-like being with eyes that seemed to pierce through Xylo's very being. Kai, his face unreadable, held up a hand. "No, Senator. This is not a declaration of war. It is a demonstration of our resolve." He paused, allowing the words to reverberate through the stunned silence. "We humans are not like you. We are not a collective hive mind, nor are we a rigid, hierarchical empire. We are individuals, united by a common goal, and that goal is survival." Xylo felt a pang of empathy for the human ambassador. He had seen firsthand the fragility of interstellar peace. He understood the desperation that could drive a species to such extremes. "But what is the meaning of this?" he asked, his voice strained. "Why destroy the image of an innocent planet?" Kai's eyes narrowed. "It's not innocent, Senator. It's a planet that has been exploited, plundered, and left to rot by your kind. We have faced destruction before, at the hands of empires like yours. We have learned that to survive, we must be willing to fight back. This weapon is a symbol of that resolve." A voice, loud and clear, cut through the stunned silence. "A symbol of barbarity," Senator Kalar, a tall, reptilian being with an imposing presence, rose from his seat. We, the Council of Elders, have heard your message. We will not be intimidated. The might of the Galactic Federation will crush your rebellion." Kalar's words sparked a wave of applause among the senators. But in the corner of the chamber, Xylo saw a different reaction. A young Velar, whose face was obscured by the intricate patterns of his chitinous shell, sat hunched in his seat, his antennae twitching nervously. Suddenly, a flicker of light illuminated the chamber, followed by a piercing, high-pitched whine. The holographic projection flickered and faded, revealing the true nature of the Senate chamber. It was not a gleaming, luxurious hall, but a cramped, dilapidated structure, cobbled together from scavenged parts. Xylo's jaw dropped. The Galactic Federation had been a myth, a facade to conceal the truth. Their empire was collapsing, devoured from within by corruption and internal strife. And now, the humans had exposed it. Kai, his eyes glittering with a mix of anger and sorrow, spoke again. "You have chosen your path, Senator, the path of destruction and exploitation. We humans, we have chosen our own." He turned and walked out of the chamber, leaving the Galactic Senate to grapple with the revelation of its own hypocrisy, and the chilling reality that the human primitive weapon was only a small taste of what was to come. The air crackled with anticipation, a tangible thing in the opulent chamber of the Galactic Senate. Humans, known for their clumsy tech and rudimentary weaponry, stood before the gathered representatives of 1,000 star systems. Their leader, a woman named Anya, held a device seemingly crafted from scrap metal, its edges rough and uneven. "This," she said, her voice strong and steady, "is not a weapon of destruction. It is a weapon of peace." She pressed a button, and the chamber hummed with a low, unsettling energy. A holographic projection flickered to life, a swirling vortex of energy and light. It was beautiful, mesmerizing, but the senators, used to weapons of pure force, felt a primal fear gnaw at their core. "It's called the Pax," Anya explained, her voice calm yet unwavering. "It harnesses the very fabric of reality, weaving a field of pure energy that disrupts and neutralizes any hostile act." A collective gasp rippled through the chamber. The Pax was not a weapon in the traditional sense. It was a force field of unimaginable power, a shield that could render even the most advanced weaponry useless. But the twist, the complication, was that the Pax had a caveat. It was not a weapon to be used against sentient beings. It was designed specifically to disable hostile actions from non-sentient sources. A machine gun wouldn't fire, a laser beam wouldn't pierce, but a sentient being could still wield a blade. The senators, used to their own intricate power struggles and manipulations, saw a dangerous potential. The Pax could be used to stifle revolutions, silence dissenting voices, and control entire populations with ease. The very idea horrified some, while others, the power-hungry, saw it as a tool to solidify their grip on their own star systems. "It is a weapon that could be used for good or evil," Anya stated, her eyes scanning the chamber, searching for any hint of dissent. "It is up to you, the esteemed representatives of the Galactic Senate, to decide its purpose." The debate that ensued was like a tempest in the Grand Chamber. A senator from the powerful Zidonian Empire, known for its ruthless expansionist policies, spoke first. "This is a dangerous tool, a weapon that could be used to silence dissent and control entire populations." But a young representative from a small, peaceful system spoke next, her voice trembling with the weight of her words. "It could also be used to protect the innocent, to stop senseless wars, to create a future of peace and prosperity for all." The debate raged on, each voice adding its own nuance and perspective. The Pax was not simply a weapon, it was a catalyst for profound change, forcing the senators to confront their own deepest beliefs and values. The humans had arrived in the Galactic Senate with a simple tool, but they had inadvertently unleashed a storm that would forever reshape the galaxy. It was a storm that could bring hope or destroy everything they held dear. The choice, as Anya had said, lay with the senators. They were the guardians of the future, and the fate of the galaxy rested in their hands. Senator Ayla, her skin a vibrant emerald green under the Senate chamber's harsh lighting, watched the holographic projections flicker as the human delegate, a lean, weathered woman named Captain Anya, spoke. Her words, calm and measured, described a weapon of terrifying simplicity, a device that harnessed the power of a collapsing star, a supernova in miniature. Primitive, scoffed the Xyler, a race known for their advanced technological mastery. Such brute force. We, the Xyler, have developed weapons of pure energy, elegant and precise. Anya's lips twitched into a wry smile. Perhaps, but elegance often breaks. Our weapon is as simple as the universe itself. We have harnessed the power that creates and destroys, forged it into a weapon that will shatter any shield, any fleet. A hush fell over the chamber. The Xyler's arrogant laughter died in their throats, replaced by a chilling silence. Ayla felt a flicker of fear, a primal instinct that whispered of danger. The Xyler ambassador, a slender being with eyes like polished obsidian, rose from his seat. This is a bluff, human. You cannot control such power. Anya's eyes met his, a steely glint in their depths. We control it not through elegance, but through understanding. We respect the power of creation and destruction, and we use it to defend our own. As the tension in the chamber crackled, a new voice cut through the silence. What is the purpose of this demonstration, human? It was Senator Ilya, a towering, armored figure from the Draconian race, known for their unwavering military might. Anya turned to Ilya, her gaze unwavering. The purpose, Senator, is to show that humanity will not be bullied, will not be subjugated. We will protect our allies, our home, our right to exist. Ayla's emerald eyes narrowed. She knew this demonstration was more than a simple display of power. It was a warning, a challenge. Ayla knew that Anya was not a fool, that this primitive weapon was not simply a means of defense. It was a harbinger of change, a declaration of human power that threatened to disrupt the established order of the galaxy. And that order, Ayla knew, was built on a foundation of fear. The Xyler, with their technological prowess, had long held dominion over the galaxy. The Draconian, with their powerful military, had been their enforcers. But now, humanity had entered the stage, wielding a power so raw, so fundamental, that it threatened to topple the entire structure. But Ayla also saw a flicker of hope in Anya's eyes, a sense of idealism that ran deeper than the weapon's power. Anya believed in a better future, a future where humanity could stand alongside the other races, not as a threat, but as an equal partner. Ayla, with her own hopes for a more just galaxy, found herself torn between the fear of the unknown and the yearning for a change that might bring peace, but could also bring chaos. Suddenly, a new twist emerged. The holographic projections flickered again, this time displaying a disturbing image. A faint, shimmering energy field engulfing the human homeworld, a protective barrier previously unseen. The Xyler ambassador, his obsidian eyes widening, hissed, "A shield. Shielding the entire planet. Such a feat. Impossible." Anya's smile faded, replaced by a steely resolve. "It is not impossible, Ambassador. It is merely unexpected." The chamber erupted in whispers of confusion and disbelief. The Draconian, their powerful armor creaking, shifted restlessly. The Xyler, their technological arrogance momentarily shaken, stared at the image with a newfound sense of unease. The Galactic Senate trembled, not only from the display of power, but from the realization that they were facing an entirely new kind of threat, a power they had underestimated, a people they had misjudged. The humans had arrived, not just with a primitive weapon, but with a technology that challenged the very foundations of the galactic order. And as the echo of Anya's words reverberated through the chamber, one thing became clear. The galaxy was about to change forever. The Senate chamber fell silent. Senator Xylo, his emerald skin glistening under the luminescent ceiling, cleared his throat. The humans. They claim this device is a bomb, a weapon of immense power. He gestured to the holographic projection, a crude, metal sphere humming with unseen energy. Such primitive technology, a threat to galactic stability. Senator Val, the sleek, black-furred representative from the Lyran Confederacy, scoffed. Stability is built on strength, Xylo. The humans have proven themselves to be a force to be reckoned with. We cannot afford to underestimate them. His words echoed through the chamber, prompting murmurs and worried glances from the other senators. Their eyes were drawn to the lone human figure seated amongst the alien delegates, a stoic young woman named Captain Anya. She bore the weight of their scrutiny with a stoic calmness, her gaze fixed on the sphere pulsing before them. Anya knew the fear they felt. She'd seen it on the faces of countless enemies, their arrogance turning to terror as the sheer destructive power of the primitive bomb unfolded before them. This technology, a relic from Earth's past, was a weapon of last resort, a reminder of the humans' resilience in the face of annihilation. But its existence had now sparked a new kind of fear, one that threatened to shatter the delicate balance of the galaxy. "This is not a tool of aggression," Anya spoke, her voice carrying across the chamber with a quiet, resolute strength. "It is a shield, a deterrent." A chuckle, harsh and cynical, broke through the tense silence. It came from Senator Zark, the hulking, red-skinned representative of the Cathran Empire, known for their ruthless expansionist policies. A deterrent? Against what? Human? The Empire has no interest in your backwater planet. Then why? Anya countered, her gaze locking onto Zark's. Did you send your warships to the edge of our solar system? A collective gasp filled the chamber. Zark's face flushed a deeper shade of red. He tried to deny it, to deflect the accusation. But the truth was written in the panicked tremor of his voice. "This is a blatant lie," he roared. "The Empire has no designs on your world. We are simply observing your development, assessing your potential." Anya felt a surge of anger, a familiar echo of the battles she'd fought against Earth's enemies. She knew the Empire's true intentions. They saw the humans, with their crude technology and unrefined power, as an easy conquest, a stepping stone to galactic domination. "Your observations are an act of aggression," she stated, her voice unwavering. "And this," she gestured to the sphere, "is the answer. A reminder that we will not be subdued. We will not be conquered." The atmosphere in the chamber was thick with tension. The senators, previously divided by their own political agendas, now found themselves united by a common fear. The humans, with their primitive weapon, had upset the galactic balance. A new era had begun, one where the ancient, established powers had to contend with a new, unpredictable force. Anya, as she watched the senators react, knew that this was just the beginning. The galaxy was about to be remade, and the humans, the underestimated primitives, would be at the heart of the storm. Senator Xylo, leader of the Xylossian delegation, watched the image on the holoscreen with a mixture of horror and fascination. The human weapon, a crude, seemingly primitive device, had just obliterated an entire fleet of Xylossian warships, leaving behind nothing but swirling dust and the faint hum of decaying energy. "The weapon," he hissed, voice tight with fear, it defies all known laws of physics." The other senators, their faces pale and drawn, nodded grimly. This wasn't just a new weapon, it was an existential threat. The humans, a species they had dismissed as barbaric and primitive, had just proven they possessed technology that dwarfed anything the Galactic Federation had ever conceived. Xylo's eyes met those of Senator Ethel, the stoic leader of the Veronian delegation. Ethel, known for her calm demeanor and logical thinking, was visibly shaken. "We have to know more," Ethel said, her voice grave. "What is this weapon? How does it work? And most importantly, how can we defend ourselves against it?" A wave of panic swept through the Senate chamber. Whispers and murmurs filled the air, echoing the fear and confusion gripping the galactic community. The humans had always been considered a backwater civilization, a fledgling species with limited technology. This weapon shattered that perception, proving that humans, for all their perceived primitiveness, held a secret power that could reshape the galaxy. The Senate was in chaos, but Xylo, fueled by a newfound sense of urgency, knew he had to act. He had seen the raw power of the human weapon firsthand, and he knew that the Federation needed to understand it before it was too late. He called for an emergency meeting, inviting representatives from every major faction within the Federation, including the humans. The meeting was tense, the atmosphere thick with suspicion and fear. The human envoy, a young woman named Anya, sat at the table, her calm demeanor a stark contrast to the panic surrounding her. "We offer you a choice," Anya said, her voice clear and unwavering. "Join us, and we will share our knowledge. Remain our adversaries, and you will face the consequences of your own inaction." The senators, their faces a mixture of anger and fear, looked at Anya. Some were skeptical, dismissing her words as a manipulative ploy. Others, however, saw the truth in her statement. The humans had a weapon that could obliterate entire civilizations, a weapon that they were willing to share, but only with those who chose to stand beside them. Xylo, seeing a chance to understand the threat, and possibly even avert it, looked at the other senators. "We have a choice to make," he said, his voice echoing through the chamber. "We can either embrace the unknown, or we can face our own extinction." The Senate, caught between fear and opportunity, was about to make a decision that would change the fate of the galaxy. A decision that would shape the future of their world and the future of the human species. But as the senators debated, a new twist emerged. A message, intercepted from a deep space probe, revealed a disturbing truth. The human weapon, the one they had seen decimate an entire fleet, was just a fraction of their true power. It was a simple weapon, designed for one purpose, and there were others, infinitely more powerful, lying dormant. The Galactic Senate, gripped by fear once more, now faced a new and even more daunting question: what were the humans truly capable of, and what would their future hold? The silence in the Senate chamber was thick enough to choke on. Senator Xylo, his sleek, blue skin shimmering under the cold light of the galactic dome, stared at the crude, cobbled-together contraption displayed on the holoscreen. It was a jumble of metal, wires, and tubes, a far cry from the elegant, energy-based weapons wielded by the galaxy's most powerful civilizations. This is what you call a weapon," Xylo scoffed, his voice dripping with disdain. "A relic from a forgotten age. You humans claim it can decimate entire fleets." Senator Ayla, the human delegate, met Xylo's gaze with a steely resolve. "It is not about elegance, Senator Xylo," she said, her voice clear and firm. "It is about efficiency. This weapon utilizes a principle called mass energy equivalence. A simple equation, E=mc, that unlocks the very fabric of reality." She gestured towards the contraption. "This device can convert a minuscule amount of matter into a tremendous amount of energy. The release is instantaneous, devastating. And, I assure you, Senator, it does not require a sophisticated energy grid to function." Xylo's eyes narrowed. He wasn't a fool. He knew the equation, understood the power it contained. But he dismissed it as mere theory, a fanciful notion for a species obsessed with brute force. He had seen the might of the galactic fleet, warships that could obliterate entire planets with a single blast of plasma. This contraption was a joke. "Do you truly believe that this primitive device can stand against the might of the galactic fleet?" Xylo sneered. "It is absurd, a desperate attempt to salvage your crumbling empire." Ayla ignored the jab. "It's not about standing against the fleet, Senator Xylo," she said calmly. "It's about deterring them. This device is a beacon, a stark reminder of the potential for destruction that lies dormant within our species, a reminder that we are not to be trifled with." The words hung in the air, chillingly real. Xylo sensed a shift in the chamber. The other senators, too, had begun to understand the gravity of the situation. This was no mere weapon, but a symbol, a warning, and it was directed at them. But then, a new voice entered the conversation. It was Senator Corvus, a sly and ambitious figure who had always been a thorn in the side of the human delegates. He had been a staunch supporter of the Galactic Fleet's expansionist policies, believing that human expansion was a threat to galactic stability. "You speak of deterrence, Senator Ayla," Corvus said, his voice laced with a dangerous smile. "But what if the Galactic Fleet does not wish to be deterred? What if they are not swayed by your primitive demonstration?" He paused, letting the tension build. What then, Senator? Will you fire upon us, your fellow senators? Will you bring the wrath of your device upon the very heart of the Galactic Senate? Ayla's eyes narrowed. She knew that Corvus was playing a dangerous game, trying to sow discord and incite fear. She had to be careful, for any miscalculation could have devastating consequences. Senator Corvus, she said, her voice unwavering. Your words are provocative, but I assure you, we have no intention of using this device against anyone. Our purpose is not to conquer, but to protect. We seek peace, but we will not be bullied. The choice lies with you, Senator Corvus, and the rest of the Senate. Will you choose peace, or will you choose to test the limits of our resolve? The chamber was silent again. The air hung heavy with the weight of Ayla's words. Xylo felt a cold dread creeping into his heart. He had seen the humans' tenacity, their unshakable resolve in the face of insurmountable odds. This device was a sign, a harbinger of things to come, and he had a feeling that the humans, for all their seeming primitiveness, were ready to unleash something far more terrifying than anything the galactic fleet had ever seen. The silence in the Senate chamber was thick enough to choke on. Senators, their faces a tapestry of disbelief and horror, stared at the flickering image of the Earth, its surface now a network of glowing lines. The humans, stammered the Krelian ambassador, his voice shaking. They've activated it. Activated what? A reptilian senator hissed. His eyes narrowed in fear. The primitive weapon, Senator Ivani, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hand, said. The one they showed us during the demonstration. The one they claimed was merely a communication network. A collective gasp filled the chamber. The humans, with their antiquated technology, had pulled off the unthinkable. The weapon, a network of interconnected satellites, was not designed to communicate. It was a weapon of unimaginable power, capable of manipulating the very fabric of reality. It could warp space, fold time, and even extinguish stars. The realization struck the senators like a thunderbolt. They had dismissed the humans as simpletons, a backwater civilization barely worth their time. Now they were facing an existential threat. Suddenly, a new image flickered onto the screen, the face of a young human woman, her eyes filled with a steely determination. Her voice, transmitted across the vast expanse of space, echoed throughout the chamber. We are not here to conquer, she declared, her words resonating with an unexpected power. We are here to protect. We are here to ensure the survival of all sentient beings in this galaxy. You have seen our power, now you must see our purpose. Her words hung in the air, heavy with meaning. The senators, stunned into silence, watched as the young woman continued speaking, her voice carrying a message of hope and unity. But as she spoke, a faint humming filled the chamber, growing louder with each passing moment. The senators looked at each other, their faces filled with growing apprehension. Then the screen went black. A deafening roar filled the chamber, shaking the very foundations of the Senate building. The ground beneath their feet began to tremble, the air crackling with energy. Panic erupted as the senators scrambled for cover, their fear a tangible force in the room. But just as quickly as it began, the hum subsided. The screen flickered back to life, revealing the young woman's face, her expression calm and serene. It is done, she announced, her voice ringing with a power that could only be described as divine. She explained that the weapon was not a weapon at all. It was a device capable of manipulating the fabric of reality, but not to destroy, but to defend. It had detected a threat, a looming catastrophe that threatened to engulf the galaxy. It had activated, not to attack, but to prevent the inevitable. And then, a new image flashed on the screen. A vast, swirling cloud of energy, impossibly huge, loomed on the horizon. It was a celestial leviathan, a cosmic storm of unimaginable power, heading straight for the galaxy. The senators, their faces etched with fear, understood. The humans, in their primitive ingenuity, had saved them from a fate far worse than annihilation. The Galactic Senate trembled, not in fear, but in awe. They had underestimated the humans, dismissed their technology, And now, they were faced with a humbling reality. The silence in the Galactic Senate was deafening, the air thick with a mixture of fear and disbelief. The human representative, a wiry figure with a mischievous glint in his eyes, stood poised, the strange device he held radiating an unnerving hum. The Cathrak, known for their fearsome psychic abilities, watched in frozen horror. The Zygar, masters of interstellar warfare, shifted restlessly in their seats. "This," the human said, his voice calm yet firm, "is a weapon unlike any you have ever encountered. It doesn't rely on brute force or advanced technology. It utilizes something far more potent, something you deem primitive: laughter." He activated the device, and a wave of pure, unadulterated laughter flooded the chamber. The laughter, amplified and focused, felt like a physical force, washing over the senators, shaking them to their core. The Cathrak felt their psychic powers crumple under the onslaught, their minds reeling. The Zygar, with their centuries of combat experience, felt their resolve crumble, replaced by a deep, primal unease. But before the laughter could reach its crescendo, the room was filled with a strange, ethereal hum. Lights flickered, and holographic projections flickered into existence, displaying a scene of utter chaos. A lone, battered spaceship, bearing the emblem of a forgotten faction, the Archyle flew through a ravaged star system. The human representative, his eyes wide with surprise, recognized the scene. "The Archyle," he gasped. "They were extinct." The hum grew louder, and a figure materialized in the center of the chamber, bathed in an ethereal light. A being of pure energy, eyes burning with a fiery intensity. "The Archyle are not extinct," the being proclaimed, its voice echoing throughout the chamber. "We are the guardians of laughter, and we have returned. Your fear has awakened us. We have witnessed the corruption of your galaxy, the suppression of joy. You have forgotten the power of laughter, and it has brought you to the brink of ruin." The human representative, awestruck, felt a glimmer of hope. This was not an end, but a beginning. The Senate, caught between fear and awe, was left with a profound choice: embrace the power of laughter or succumb to the darkness they had so desperately tried to avoid. Senator Xylo of the Xanthian hegemony leaned back in his shimmering throne, a smug smile playing on his lips. The humans had been blustering, threatening to unleash their primitive weapon on the Galactic Senate, but Xylo knew it was nothing more than a bluff. The Xanthian fleet, cloaked and ready, would intercept any attack before it could reach the Senate chamber. Then the chamber went dark. A moment later, the lights returned, flickering, with a pulsing, green glow emanating from the center of the chamber. In the center stood a lone figure, silhouetted against the green light, a young human woman with a strange device in her hand. She lifted it, and a voice, amplified across the chamber, boomed. "The weapon is not primitive, it is not an attack, it is a message." The green light pulsed again, and a holographic image bloomed in the air, a sprawling galaxy map. A single, red dot blazed on the edge of the map. "This is your galaxy, senators," the woman's voice echoed. "This is the location of the Xylossian Empire." Xylo, his smile gone, stared at the map. The Xylossian Empire, a long dormant, legendary entity rumored to have achieved the ultimate in technology, even surpassing the Xanthians. The very name was a whispered threat in the darkest corners of the galaxy. The human woman continued. "We have been observing the Galactic Senate for centuries. We saw your greed, your manipulations. We saw the threats you posed to this galaxy." Her voice grew colder. "You have been warned." The green light faded, leaving the Senate chamber in near darkness. Xylo, along with every other senator, was frozen in silent dread. The humans had revealed a secret more terrifying than any weapon. The Senate, which had been poised to conquer, now trembled before the unknown power of the Xylossians. And just then, a new voice, soft but clear, spoke from the darkness. "And we have been observing you, humans." A single, glowing orb materialized in the center of the chamber, illuminating the face of a creature that looked like a swirling nebula. "It seems we have a common enemy." The Senate, its fear overshadowed by confusion, watched in stunned silence as the representative of the Xylossian Empire, the creature of pure energy, offered a hand of alliance to the humans. It seemed their primitive weapon had opened a door not just to the Xylossians, but to a future none of them could have foreseen. The silence in the Galactic Senate chamber was so thick it could be cut with a vibroblade. Senator Xylo, the haughty insectoid representative of the Zidonian Empire, finally broke it. "This weapon is nothing more than a crude, barbaric tool. A relic of your species' primitive past," he sneered, the mandibles on his lower face twitching with disdain. Senator Eiko, the human representative, remained unfazed. She calmly pointed to the display, where a holographic projection of the weapon flickered. "It may seem primitive, Senator," she began, her voice low and steady, "but this device, known as a nuclear bomb, holds the power to decimate entire planets. It is a power that should not be taken lightly." A ripple of fear ran through the chamber. Even the most hardened senators, those who had seen countless wars and battles, felt a chilling dread at the mention of such destructive force. Xylo, however, remained skeptical. "A mere explosion? You think this will frighten the great Zidonian Empire?" he scoffed. Eiko smiled, a knowing glint in her eyes. "We are not trying to frighten you, Senator. We are trying to show you that we have a weapon that can destroy everything you hold dear. We are trying to show you that we are not to be underestimated." She raised her hand, and with a swift gesture, a button on a control panel was pressed. The hologram flared, a blinding white light erupting from the weapon. The room was plunged into darkness, the deafening roar of the simulated explosion reverberating through the chamber. When the light faded and the echoes died down, Xylo found himself staring at a gaping hole in the chamber wall, the void of space shimmering beyond. The rest of the senators, too stunned to speak, looked on in disbelief. The power of the primitive weapon was undeniable. Eiko, her expression calm and composed, addressed the chamber once more. "We are not here to threaten, but to negotiate. We offer peace, but we will defend ourselves, should we have to." As she finished, a small, metallic sphere whizzed into the chamber, a faint glow emanating from its surface. It hovered silently, then, with a sudden burst of light, vanished. Xylo, his mandibles now trembling in fear, found himself unable to speak. He was finally beginning to understand the true nature of the threat posed by these humans. But he didn't understand the sphere. Eiko, her lips curved in a slight smile, watched the sphere's disappearance. "Senator Xylo," she said, her voice laced with a hint of amusement, "I believe you have a guest." A split second later, a booming, echoing voice filled the Senate chamber. "Greeting, human. The Council of Elders has received your message. Prepare to receive our response." The identity of the speaker was unknown, but the voice held a power that sent chills down the spines of every senator present. The primitive weapon had been a show of force, but it was the sphere, and the message it delivered, that truly marked the beginning of a new era in the galaxy. Eiko had not only shown the might of humanity, but had also inadvertently triggered a cosmic game of chess, the stakes of which were the fate of the entire galaxy. Senator Xylo, the Xian representative, was the first to break the silence. This is impossible," he sputtered, his reptilian scales shimmering in the dim light of the Senate chamber. "A primitive weapon, a stone, it cannot be." A hush fell over the room. Even the normally boisterous Velarans, known for their love of theatrics, were stunned. The Xylorians, though stoic, could barely contain their disbelief. The humans, the newcomers, the race barely a blip on the galactic radar, had just decimated their most advanced warship, the flagship of their entire fleet, with a weapon from another era. A human delegate, a young woman named Maya, stepped forward, her gaze calm and unwavering. "It is not the weapon, but the way it is used," she said, her voice strong and steady. "You focus on technology, on the bigger, the faster, the more powerful. We, however, understand the power of strategy, the importance of the unexpected. The weapon itself is nothing. It's the minds behind it that hold the true power." Her words echoed through the chamber. The senators, the ambassadors, the military strategists, they all felt a prickle of unease. This simple stone, this primitive weapon, had exposed a vulnerability, a blind spot in their own sophisticated systems. Suddenly, the holographic projector above the chamber flickered, a faint interference distorting the image of the human delegate. A tremor ran through the floor, followed by a low, insistent hum. The senators exchanged worried glances, their expressions morphing from disbelief to fear. The hum grew louder, the tremors stronger. A voice, deep and resonant, echoed through the chamber. "Human technology, a beacon. We are coming." The room erupted into chaos. The senators, their composure shattered, scrambled for the emergency exits. Maya, her face etched with concern, looked at the flickering projector. The source of the voice remained unknown, but one thing was clear: the humans had unintentionally awakened a force far more powerful than themselves. The galaxy, it seemed, had just become a lot more dangerous. The silence in the Galactic Senate chamber was deafening. The ambassadors, accustomed to the intricate dance of political maneuvering, were frozen in a tableau of disbelief. A flicker of fear crossed the faces of the elder Xylossian diplomats, while the younger Zargans exchanged nervous glances. The human, tall and seemingly fragile, stood unyielding, her gaze unwavering. The demonstration of their primitive weapon had proven devastating. The entire chamber, a testament to galactic diplomacy, was now a ruin of shattered glass and smoking rubble. "This," the human declared, her voice resonating with a chilling calm, "is the power of the human spirit." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of protest and fear. The Xylossian ambassador, his voice trembling, stammered, This is an act of aggression. We demand an explanation." The human, however, remained unmoved. Her gaze swept across the assembly, landing on the Zargans, their expressions shifting from fear to a flicker of something akin to admiration. "We humans are not here for conquest," she continued, her voice rising above the pandemonium. "We are here to offer a choice. Join us, or face the consequences." As if on cue, the chamber doors burst open, and a swarm of beings unlike any seen before flooded in. They were tall, lean, and their skin shimmered with an ethereal glow. The crowd gasped. Even the Xylossians, masters of galactic diplomacy, were speechless. "Greetings, fellow beings," a voice boomed, echoing through the chamber. It emanated from the leader of the newcomers, a being of radiant blue light. "We are the Luminians, and we come in peace." The human ambassador, her gaze fixed on the Luminians, smiled faintly. "Indeed," she murmured, "it seems we have company." The room was filled with murmurs of confusion and anticipation. The human ambassador, her face composed, stepped forward, her eyes meeting those of the Luminians. "The humans have chosen a path to unification," she said, her voice calm and firm. "And we, the Luminians, have been watching. We offer our assistance. Together, we shall forge a new galactic order." The human ambassador's words, though delivered in a peaceful tone, carried an underlying threat. The Xylossians, once masters of the galaxy, now found themselves on the brink of irrelevance. The Zargans, however, saw opportunity in this new alliance. The stage was set for a new era, an era where the humans, the Luminians, and their allies would reshape the galaxy, leaving the old order in their wake. Senator Xylo of the Cerulean Confederacy, the most vocal critic of the human primitive weapon, stood up. He pointed a quivering finger at the holographic projection of the Earth, the planet where the weapon was invented. "This is madness. This technology is barbaric. You will be condemned by the entire galactic community," he roared. But the human ambassador, a woman with eyes as cold and calculating as the void of space, merely smiled. "Senator Xylo," she said, her voice calm and devoid of emotion, "we understand your concerns. But you see, this weapon is not for war. It is for peace. It is for the very survival of our species." The senators of the Galactic Council looked at each other, a mixture of fear and disbelief on their faces. What could a primitive weapon possibly offer for peace? The human ambassador turned to the screen and pressed a button. A wave of silence washed over the room, a silence broken only by the hum of the Council's energy field. Then the screen flickered, displaying a new image. A small, green planet, its surface dotted with pristine blue oceans and lush forests. This, the ambassador announced, is Kepler 186f. It is a world very much like your own, but it is also facing a threat far worse than any war. On the screen, a monstrous, pulsing form materialized. It was a creature of pure energy, radiating a malevolent aura that made the very air in the chamber seem charged with dread. This, the ambassador said, her voice low and menacing, is the Eater. It consumes planets, leaving only barren wastelands in its wake. It is coming for Kepler 186f. It is coming for Earth, and it is coming for all of you. This is the weapon we have designed to stop it. The senators stared at the Eater in horror. They had heard whispers of such creatures, legends passed down from the darkest corners of the galaxy, but they had never believed them real. Now they saw the proof. As the ambassador spoke, the screen displayed a series of intricate diagrams, explaining the workings of the weapon. It was not a weapon of destruction, but a weapon of manipulation, a device capable of harnessing the very fabric of space-time to contain and redirect the Eater's energy. The weapon is primitive, the ambassador conceded, but it is effective. It is a weapon of desperation, a last stand for our species, a weapon that we hope we will never have to use. As the ambassador spoke, the senators felt a chill run down their spines. They had come to the council chamber expecting to condemn the humans for their primitive weapon. But now they saw the truth. The humans were not barbarians. They were the guardians of the galaxy, standing against a threat that could wipe out all life. And the primitive weapon, it was the only thing standing between them and oblivion. Just then, a soft, familiar humming sound began to rise from the floor of the chamber, growing in intensity. The senators looked around in confusion. What was that sound? Where was it coming from? Suddenly, the floor began to crack and split, the energy field flickering as a blinding light erupted from beneath the chamber. And then, the impossible happened. The Eater, in all its monstrous glory, emerged from the council chamber floor. But it was not a creature of destruction. It was a being of light, pure and radiant, its form swirling with the energy of 1,000,000 suns. It smiled, a smile that contained all the wisdom and love of the universe. It spoke, its voice a chorus of 1,000 stars. We have come for you. The senators looked at each other, their minds reeling. What was happening? What was the truth? The ambassador looked at the Eater, her eyes wide with shock and wonder. Then she turned to the senators and said, "This is not the Eater. This is something else, something far greater. It is a miracle." The Senate chamber, usually a hub of political maneuvering, was now a scene of stunned silence. The human ambassador, a surprisingly young woman with eyes that held the wisdom of millennia, smiled faintly. "This," she said, her voice echoing through the silent chamber, "is not a weapon of war, but a weapon of peace." She gestured to the screen, where the projected image of the primitive weapon, the simple yet elegant design of the warp drive, shimmered. "This," she continued, "is the key to unlocking the potential of the galaxy. A bridge across the vastness, a tool for understanding and collaboration." Her words, simple and direct, cut through the shock and fear in the room. The ambassadors of the other races, initially paralyzed by fear, began to see the truth in her words. The primitive weapon was not a threat, but a promise of a future where borders could be crossed in an instant, where knowledge and resources could be shared freely, where the galaxy could finally be united under a banner of peace. The Galactic Senate, shaken from their initial fear, began to see the potential of the technology. The Xylorians, known for their advanced communication networks, saw a chance to connect their systems across the galaxy. The droids, masters of engineering, recognized the opportunity to build a network of warp drives, connecting the planets like veins in a living organism. The Krill, who had spent centuries trapped within their own nebula, saw a path to finally joining the galactic community. The human ambassador, with a gentle smile, continued, "This technology is a gift, a testament to our belief in the potential of unity. We offer it to the galaxy, not as a weapon, but as a tool for a better future." The shift in the Senate was palpable. Fear gave way to hope, suspicion to trust, and doubt to excitement. The ambassadors, united in their awe and anticipation, applauded the human ambassador. The Galactic Senate, once trembling before the unknown, embraced the future with open arms, ready to forge a new era of peace and prosperity under the guiding light of the humans' primitive weapon. The primitive weapon, the warp drive, became the symbol of a new age, a testament to the power of shared knowledge and the potential of unity. The galaxy, once fractured by distrust and fear, began to heal under the banner of shared progress. The humans, once considered backward and primitive, were now seen as visionaries, the architects of a brighter future for all. The Galactic Senate, no longer trembling, now stood united, ready to embark on a journey towards a truly unified galaxy. The Galactic Senate chamber, once buzzing with a cacophony of 1,000 alien voices, now held its breath. The human ambassador, a woman with eyes that shone like twin suns, stood before them. The air crackled with the anticipation of her final words. "This," she said, gesturing towards the obsidian box that sat on a pedestal, "is not a weapon of advanced technology. It is a weapon of will, of courage, of a people who refuse to be subjugated." She opened the box, revealing a single, unassuming arrow. "This arrow," she continued, her voice resonating with power, "is crafted not from alien alloys or advanced weaponry, but from the heartwood of a tree that has stood for centuries, witnessing the rise and fall of empires. It is tipped with the finest steel forged by human hands, honed to a razor's edge." A collective murmur rippled through the Senate. The representatives of the advanced civilizations, their faces etched with doubt, whispered amongst themselves. Was this all a cruel joke? Could a simple arrow pose any threat to their technological superiority? "This arrow," the ambassador continued, her voice now a low rumble, "represents the very essence of our people. We are not a species to be underestimated. We have faced adversity, overcome obstacles, and forged a path through the stars, armed with nothing but our resilience and unwavering spirit." She drew the arrow, its tip glinting under the lights of the chamber. The eyes of the entire Senate, from the reptilian Xylossians to the feathered avians, were fixed on her, their collective breath held. The human ambassador raised the arrow high, then lowered it slowly, its tip pointing at the holographic image of the Galactic Fleet Commander, a being with skin the color of the night sky, who had been radiating arrogance moments before. "This arrow," she stated, her voice calm and steady, "is not meant for destruction, but for a warning. This arrow signifies that the human race is not one to be trifled with. We are a force to be reckoned with, and we will not hesitate to defend our freedom, our rights, and our future." With that, she sheathed the arrow, the silence that followed heavier than 1,000 starships. The Galactic Senate, humbled, finally understood. The human's primitive weapon was not the arrow itself, but the indomitable spirit it represented. It was a spirit that had carried them across the vastness of space, a spirit that refused to be broken, and a spirit that would not back down from any challenge. The resolution was clear. The humans were welcomed into the Galactic Council, their voice heard as equals, their courage acknowledged, and their spirit revered. They had not won through power, but through the unwavering will of a people who refused to be subjugated, a will that resonated through the galaxy, leaving an indelible mark on the history of the stars. The silence in the Galactic Senate chamber was thick enough to choke on. The senator from the Xylotti, usually known for their eloquent speeches, merely stared at the holographic image of the primitive human weapon. The image flickered, showing a single, mundane-looking object, a baseball bat. Senator Cathal, the human representative, met the silence with a calm, if slightly amused, smile. "It may not look impressive," he said, his voice echoing across the vast chamber, "but within this simple piece of wood lies the heart of a warrior's spirit, the power of the human spirit, fueled by a relentless pursuit of victory." Suddenly, the hologram shifted. The bat was no longer alone. It was now wielded by a human soldier, clad in worn-out armor, his face set in grim determination. A monstrous creature, a hulking Xylosaur, charged towards the human, jaws snapping. The bat met the creature's attack in a blur of motion, shattering the Xylosaur's tooth and sending the creature reeling back. The stunned silence finally broke. Whispers, murmurs, and even gasps echoed around the chamber. The Xylari senator, Cathal noted, was staring at the holographic image with wide, unblinking eyes. "The power of the human spirit," Cathal continued, his voice now laced with quiet pride, "is not measured by the size of our weapons, but by the strength of our will. We may not have the advanced technology of some of the other species in this galaxy, but we have something far more powerful, a relentless drive to overcome obstacles, to fight for what we believe in." The Xylari senator, now visibly shaken, rose to his feet. I apologize, Senator Cathal. We were hasty in our judgment." He paused, then looked at the holographic image, his gaze lingering on the human soldier wielding the bat. "We underestimate the human spirit at our own peril." Cathal nodded, his smile growing warmer. "We understand, Senator, but let this be a lesson to us all. Sometimes, the simplest of tools can be the most powerful." The vote was swift and unanimous. The treaty was signed, and the human delegates departed the Galactic Senate with their heads held high, their primitive weapon a symbol of their indomitable spirit. The humans, though lacking in advanced technology, had proven that their unique strengths, their spirit and determination, were formidable assets in the grand scheme of the galaxy. The Galactic Senate, for the first time, saw the humans not as a backward species, but as a force to be reckoned with, a force that could not be underestimated. And so, a new era dawned, one where the human spirit, armed with nothing more than a simple baseball bat, stood tall among the stars.